Hey everybody, it's Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and today we're going to take a look at a game called Augsburg 1520. Augsburg 1520 is a game designed by Karsten Hartwig, famous for Chinatown, which we've also covered. Published by Aaliyah and Rio Grande Games, I'm not sure how you say it. Plays 2 to 5, I believe, if I can find it on the box. 2 to 5 players, ages 12 plus, 25 to 75 minutes. If you're playing this at a two-player game, it's going to sing. This is a game about some guy named Jakob Fugger. I admit, I don't know who the guy is. But he apparently did a lot of dealings with nobles. They were in his favor. They would have debts to him, and then he would cash in on those debts to make himself a big deal, that kind of thing. The way that simulates this in this game is you are basically auctioning to bribe these 5 different nobles. And they're going to take some debt certificates from you, and they're going to owe you a favor in the future. That's kind of how it's going to be happening. And it's done through this interesting card mechanism where you're going to have cards that look like the nobles, and you're trying to do like a poker hand where you're going to have a higher card than everybody else so you can win the privilege. That's it. And you're trying to just be the player that has the most money after the end of a certain number of rounds based on the number of players. That's it. So if you want to see how it plays, click the link in the video description and you can watch me do a whole round, and then I'll talk through some of the other things. Otherwise, stick around here and you can take a look at the components. All right, here we are, back to shaky cam for the components. I'm probably going to keep doing this because it works easier to show stuff off. I'm going to take a look at the components for Augsburg here. So there's the box, a normal Aaliyah size box, good size. You can see, that's a pretty, like Carcassonne size if you know what that game is. Basically the size of these boards here. Most of the components are cards and cardboard. So let's just look at that. There's a cardboard for the third step of the yellow, the money track, and it's it's pretty thick. They all have this back. Every piece of cardboard has that back, which is kind of obnoxious. But it's not super thick, but for an Aaliyah game, and it's decent. I have some Aaliyah games that are not great. The cards are pretty nice. They're easy to see. You can tell this is Louise. It says Louise, how much it cost, the value. It also has the value on the back so people can see that when you're playing. They don't know what you're playing, but they know that you're playing a $350 card. They're not linen finished, but they're nice. I like the layout. It just kind of fits the theme. It's not the greatest art in the world, but again, you're playing a game that's based on something that happened in 1520, so, it's got to kind of look like that. These cards are nice as well. Again, not linen finished, but they have, they're easy to read. This moves you up on the yellow step or lets you take a yellow privilege. 7 points, which I didn't show in the overview, 7 points. And let you move up on the red track or take a privilege. This one will let you draw 2 cards and keep 1, all that kind of stuff. So easy to read there, no issues. The player boards are pretty nice. Let's look at this so you don't have to look at it sideways. They are what they are. They're all the same. They start out with basic income, 600 guilders, 3 points, 4 debt certificates. And as you go, you can upgrade all the steps if you want to. That's fully upgraded, which is pretty slick. There's that. And then there's places for the special privileges for the orange, the special privileges for the red track. Discs, wooden discs, nothing big there. Money is pretty cool. It's cardboard. So it's not like fantastic, but it is easy to read. They're all different colors. They have different numbers again with the brown red back. But yeah, it's decent quality cardboard. I really have no issue with the components. I think they're pretty good overall. The round board is pretty easy to track. It's got different round links for different players. It shows the character right there that you're bidding on. There's really no issues here. Decent sized quality, cardboard. Not super thick, but also not as thin as some other Aaliyah games. This is also Rio Grande, so maybe that helps a little bit. So yeah, I'm into the components. The rule book is small, not a ton of pages, very clear. I watched a few videos on it as well, and everything's spelled out in here pretty well. Not a difficult game at all. And it's even got some history of Jakob Fugger, I think is his name. Fugger, like what he did, what he's all about, and then all that kind of stuff. So that's interesting if you're into that. So those are the components of Augsburg 1520. Let's go up to the top and talk about what we think about the game. All right, so Augsburg 1520. I always forget the year. I don't know. I wasn't alive then, clearly. Is a really fun game. It's an interesting auction game, and that's what it is. Effectively, is an auction game. You're using these cards to bribe one of the 5 different nobles, and you're trying to just have the most money at the end of the game. But the way that the jokers come into play, or the way that you can raise people by playing, you know, I may not have a great Philip card, but I have 2 jokers I could throw in there. So just because I have a 1 Philip card and I have 2 jokers, I'm going to pay 3 cards. Well, you may have the 17 of Philip, which is the highest card, but you don't have any jokers. So I'm going to win with my little piddly 1, and that's awesome. It's a really fun mechanism. It's just normal poker style where you can call if everybody calls and you got to reveal. If you raise, you can keep going until everybody calls or passes, all that kind of thing. And then you're just trying to go up these tracks on the boards, trying to earn money, trying to get points, getting more cards. You have more flexibility, and just ending the game with points. One of my favorite mechanisms, though, is to get past 25 points and 45, you need to have a church and a cathedral built. You can't do that until you get the 3rd step on the red, which is interesting. And it kind of reminds me of a Stefan Feld game called Aquasphere. In order to get past certain markers there, you got to have these like crystals that you can cash in. It's a cool mechanism where you really got to kind of plan ahead to get these churches built, these cathedrals built, or you're going to be earning a bunch of points and you're not going to be able to get past those thresholds. It could happen that you could get a pile of points in a round and you're stuck at 25, even though you could have gotten to 40 because you didn't build a church. So if you're going to be running up that orange track to get you points, you got to make sure that you have a way to build your church and your cathedral, and then having money to do that. So this is a fantastic game. I love it. It's not probably going to get played a ton because it is a dry theme, and I'll admit that it is dry. But for my money, it is a quality auction game. So I'm going to give this a BGM Accept the Seal. This is going to get an 8 out of 10 on BGG, which is a 4 out of 5 wrenches on an arbitrary wrench scale. That means absolutely nothing, but we like to give it the games that we enjoy, and that's what I'm going to do. So that is Augsburg 1520 from Rio Grande and Alea. I'm Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and as always, keep gaming.